So we were notified by his wife that he was missing, and she was unable to locate him. He had left the day before to go out rock hunting, and did not return home.
That's weird. It's kind of like a pail, am I right? It's like heavy rocks on it. It has like a handle on it or something, huh?
She's sniffing a lot around here. Yeah, I noticed. She started running towards the stretch. Here's a weird bone right there.
See another one?
Hang on, yeah.
In 2020, 43-year-old art teacher Trevor Bazil vanished in one of Nevada's most unforgiving deserts. Unsettled by his disappearance, we returned to that same harsh terrain in search of answers, guided by exclusive interviews with those closest to the case, fueling fresh theories and new discoveries.
You see a bone? There's a bone right there. Okay, we got a bone.
On August 14, 2020, Trevor left his home in Panaca, Nevada around 1 p.m., heading toward a desert area known as Miller Spring Wash. It was a trip he'd made many times before, but for reasons unknown, Trevor never made it home. The morning following his disappearance, his wife Dixie, with the help of a neighbor, contacted the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office.
So we were notified by his wife that he was missing, and she was unable to locate him. She had been out there with her kids and were looking for him. He had left the day before to go out rock hunting, and did not return home. So when he didn't return home, she went out personally before she called the sheriff's office and tried to find him, see if maybe he might have run out of gas or was broke down and needed help. And she was unable to locate him. So she contacted us that next day, and we went out and started a search to try to find Trevor.
The night before she reported him missing, Dixie was able to find Trevor's abandoned car. In a Facebook thread, she claimed she knew right where it was, as they'd been there a dozen times.
The wash that he would typically go down isn't really designed for the kind of vehicle he had. So he stayed on the county road and then would walk.
Trevor, an accomplished artist and teacher, was known to search the wash for distinctive pieces of obsidian and chalcedony, which he then turned into hand-carved, hand-polished sculptures and jewelry. In 2023, we hiked the wash, finding many of the same types of rocks he would have been searching for. But even for seasoned explorers, the wash can be dangerous, especially when the heat becomes extreme. At the time Trevor went missing, Nevada was in the midst of a record heat wave, with temperatures soaring across the state. According to police records, recorded highs reached roughly 103 degrees in the days following Trevor's disappearance.
When he left, he'd taken a couple of water bottles with him. One of the water bottles was still in the vehicle. We feel like he had one of them with him.
A member of Trevor's family sent us a photograph of the water bottle he may have been carrying with him, which was not discovered in his car.
His cell phone was in the vehicle, which is not uncommon because there's no cell service in that area. So it probably wouldn't have been uncommon for him not to take a cell phone, because unless you're going to hike to the top of a mountain, you're not going to get cell service down in that canyon.
What was not found in his vehicle was the .45 caliber handgun he was known to carry while rock hounding, a precaution that makes sense in an area where hikers can encounter deadly predators at every turn.
Looks like an elk to me.
Yeah.
But I'm no expert.
It wasn't long before we encountered evidence of just how ruthless the local wildlife can be.
It's an animal. Something's killing him out here. Dead horse.
Is that really part of the dead horse right there, though, Dad? That's just smaller. It's just... It still has a little meat on it. Don't like how to get to it. Give him a chow down. This might be where a mountain lion takes its stuff. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, let's keep walking the river, don't you think?
Yeah.
We know he's looking, but...
Don't leave that. Just go there. That's gross. Here's a weird bone right there.
See another one?
It's a horse skull.
Oh, wow, yeah, look how much that sticks out. After it got bleached.
Oh, look at this. Nice big piece of obsidian.
Now it would be interesting if we flew a drone over here, if we picked that up. Here goes a giant piece of metal. But look at how easy you can go so many different directions from this spot.
If Trevor suffered from extreme heat exhaustion, it's possible he became disoriented and lost his sense of direction, even in an area he knew well. But another factor could have added to a confused mental state. Though his wife Dixie initially told authorities that he wasn't on any medications, after speaking with Trevor's family, we learned that he was taking as many as 11 separate prescriptions for what the police reports described as treatments related to Asperger's syndrome and anxiety. One of the prescriptions he may have been taking is listed among ones that impair the body's ability to regulate its own temperature, leading to an increased risk of hypothermia. After locating his car but finding no sign of Trevor, a massive search and rescue mission was launched, soon leading to a critical discovery.
The search was just conducted by the sheriff's office and our volunteer search and rescue. We have a search and rescue unit that is comprised of multiple volunteers with vehicles and ATVs and horseback and foot that can get geared up to search pretty much any terrain, any time of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that was the first unit that was mobilized, was the sheriff's office along with our volunteer search and rescue. Over the time of the search, we had hundreds and hundreds of volunteers that came.
They were joined by federal land managers, state forestry officials, local emergency agencies, and volunteer aviation crews. The Air Force even utilized a Black Hawk helicopter in a desperate bid to find Trevor.
The Nevada Division of Forestry, they have inmate fire crews that they use to fight fires. And since they weren't busy at the time, we were actually able to get a couple of those 12-man crews, and they were able to come and do grid searching with us. And yes, officers searched on their days off. They still went out there while they were working, while they were off. We had multiple entities come down with drones. We had our own drone that we flew. Plus, we had other people that came and flew drones. We also had multiple search dogs from Utah, Idaho. I think we had some from Nevada. So we had a multi-state effort and a multi-jurisdictional effort.
On the first day of the search, volunteers spotted what looked like foot tracks heading west down Miller Spring Wash.
All right, so here are our prints from yesterday. You can see how clear you can see the prints from just a day ago. They're still fresh. And personally, I think when people go missing, the first thing they ought to do is get drones in the sky before anybody goes around anywhere, because these would all be visible on the drone. But hopefully they'll change some of that later.
About 6 or 7 miles from Trevor's car, a dirt bike rider found a towel, a bucket half filled with large, heavy rocks, and a pair of safety glasses. The bucket was partially hidden along the road, and the items were later confirmed by his wife Dixie to be Trevor's. Still, it was hard to imagine he could have made it that far from his car in such deadly heat. The walk would have taken hours, and it raised a critical question.
So they did go clearly. I don't think they were, because there's quite a few people that frequent that area. So I feel like that we wouldn't have seen them as clearly as we did. So I think they were from that trip. They appeared to be from that trip, and they did clearly go to the west. But we couldn't track them the entire way down to the bucket. But we would find the tracks. And I know there was something that is one of his. I think his son had shoes that were like his or whatever, but we feel like these were his because of the size and, of course, because of the pattern. We probably tracked them a quarter to a half a mile.
5 cadaver dog teams arrived from Salt Lake City, separating to search the area surrounding both the car and the bucket location. But due to the unbearably hot temperatures, they couldn't keep up the search for long. Ultimately, they found no sign of Trevor, but in 2023, as we continued our own search, our K9 Coda found a weathered sock. While this pales in comparison to what we'll later uncover, this unique find would draw us back during our 2025 search. Meanwhile, we spoke with a member of Trevor's family who remained skeptical that he could have survived the walk from his car to where the bucket was found. They added that, as far as they know, Trevor typically stayed within the first mile around where his car was located. But according to search maps, this western location where the bucket was found, nearly 6 or 7 miles away from his car, is where the majority of the search was concentrated.
We've conducted searches that were up to 12 days after the person became missing, and we were able to locate him. We've went on searches where you find him in a few hours.
But when he still wasn't located after a grueling 3 days, the search was ultimately called off. Given the knowledge that Trevor would not usually walk so far on his rock-hounding trips, we believe the bucket may have been from a different excursion and entertained the possibility the bucket was never his to begin with. With the search and rescue called off, the hope of finding Trevor alive faded. International Canine Search and Rescue posted a theory on Facebook suggesting Trevor may have crawled into a space to stay cool or get warm and been killed by a cougar, noting that when a cougar kills someone, they will cover them up with dirt.
Oh wow, that's a really old bottle. Like really old.
Like how old?
It's got the really old Pepsi logo on it.
Though not a sign of Trevor, the vintage 50s era glass bottle is a unique find. Based on the logo design, we can confidently estimate the bottle fragment is roughly 65 to 75 years old.
Yeah, it's really old.
As we continued down the wash, another interesting discovery captured our attention.
Photo of it. That's weird. It's kind of like a pail, am I right?
Yep, I'm gonna get video of it.
The pail appeared in drone images, and we had to locate and search for it based on a single coordinate, which was especially difficult before we created the Divas AI program.
We should see if there's any rocks in it. It's really heavy. Yeah, dude. They called it a pail.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
That's like a pail, dude. It's like heavy rocks or something. It has like a handle on it or something, huh?
Yeah, there's a bunch of rocks in there.
Is there?
Well, no, that's dirt.
Yeah, I don't know. Dude, look at that.
That's dirt. But, anything else around here?
I wasn't sure, but we should definitely go back and scout that area again.
In September of 2025, we launched a search effort through Divas AI to locate 32-year-old Ryan Jeremy Carter Lasag. Volunteers joined in and helped us scan a vast area in record time. Within a month, our search team found and located his remains, bringing closure to his family. That outcome is exactly why, in November 2025, we were ready to breathe new life into the effort to uncover the truth of what happened to 43-year-old Trevor Bazil. Already, volunteers using the system have made significant discoveries while scanning the high-resolution images.
Some of our drone pictures that we've already taken, some people have noticed there were some bones up in these hills right over on this side here. And it looks like a spine. It's really kind of hard to tell from the picture if it's, human or not. So we're gonna head up there. Let's go see what we find. Here we go. So, I don't know if you can see my phone, but there it is. Oh, I can't see it right there. Looks like it follows this wash, which is interesting, which is what we're gonna do. Follow this wash. Hike up, getting pretty close. Let's see. This almost feels like a trail we're following, so that's pretty interesting in itself. That's kind of like a nice little stroll here. If you ignore the mountain lions and the rattlesnakes. Let's see. See how remote this is. We've been out here all day and haven't seen a single person. You see a bone? There's a bone right there. Okay, we got a bone. I think this might be a little different than the bone. But, that's a freaking interesting looking bone right there. What do you say? Looks a little old though. No, I don't know. So, there's more bones. If we continue, I think we have to continue this way to get to those bones. The other one, it looks like there's a little bit of a wash. More?
Yeah, I got it.
Which one does this look like? That's a big bone. Yeah, that's too thick for a human bone.
Yeah.
That's too thick. And don't worry, if it was a human, we wouldn't let her be smelling it. I can see the comments now. You guys letting your dog mess with the bone?
Though these bones don't appear to be human, they're not the only set of bones our volunteers spotted, and we set out to explore the others.
Unless we find something like shoes, a shoe or something, some kind of clothing. He had a gun on him. Unless we find anything like that, it's all basically just assume it's not human bone. And we gotta keep our eyes out for rattlesnakes around here because they are thick on the ground. Dude, I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's so...
Like the spikes on the edge are too long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of amazing they were able to spot this through the drone imagery this deep in here, though. If you really think about it, it's kind of interesting because it's pretty, there's a lot of trees here. And that one was, these were pretty much underneath this tree right here when they spotted it. And you could be helped spot it too if you just want to go check out USAI. It's free for volunteers who want to come in and help search from the comfort of their own home. You can literally join our searches without all the work. Like there's another bone. Hey, there's bones all over under here. Question is, did they find any of these under there? Again, that's part of the spine again.
Must be a very large spine.
Extremely large. That's like a house, a horse or a cow. There's more bones over here. I think I saw this one on there. All right, well, we inspected them and we hiked out here. We're gonna continue. We took another probably 4,000 or 5,000 images today. We're gonna be covering just an enormous amount of area out here. See if we can finally figure out what happened to Trevor Bazil.
Even with Bob sick and feeling under the weather, we push onwards, only to get a chilling reminder that we aren't the only ones hunting.
All right, so we came across this, just showing you there are some mountain lions out here. There's a dead deer carcass, it looks like. Even has a couple points, but at least I hope if there's a mountain lion out here, he won't be hungry anymore because he ate that.
We eventually returned to the same sock we found in 2023. Though weathered by time, it remains surprisingly intact.
All right, here's a sock we found 2 years ago, and it still seems to be in pretty good shape. But as you can see by that deer carcass, if he was out here, he wouldn't last long. Anyways, we're gonna keep looking around this area now just for a little bit, cautiously, because there's clearly some kind of predatory animal out here. Probably a lot. Mountain lion, at least he won't be hungry, so he'd probably leave us alone. So let's keep looking.
The sock stands as a reminder that anything Trevor was wearing when he vanished could still be out there, visible in drone images and waiting to be spotted by one of our volunteers. As we carried on, a groundbreaking discovery sent our search in an entirely new direction.
All right, so we are out here again to look for Trevor Bazil, and I have a pretty good idea of why we haven't found anything yet. We've taken over 20,000 photos, but this is one of the biggest things we face when we're out here looking for missing persons is the actual last known location of the person and their vehicle. Everyone was telling us his vehicle was a good mile down this road that way. So we were searching in an area a mile down the road. We've covered almost this much so far, but we had finally gotten the photos. And this has happened with us on a few times now, where they tell us where his vehicle was, and then we find out later that's actually not where the vehicle was.
We lined up images of Trevor's car from the initial 2020 photos with the surrounding scenery, confirming without a doubt that this was definitely the right location.
For whatever reason, nobody seems to give the right location of his vehicle, but it's right here where the spring. We tried to contact other search crews that came out here searching, but they decided to ignore us. Or maybe they'll see this video when it finally comes out and be like, oh wow, we searched the wrong spot too. Maybe, maybe not. But since they weren't willing to talk to us, because we found out, most search and rescue operations are really kind of weird. It's like a competition for them. But for us, it's just trying to find closure and trying to find the individual.
With a new area to concentrate our search, we set up the drone and captured thousands of new images. One of our volunteers spotted what looked like a mine shaft, and we found the location and went to scope it out.
It doesn't go that far. Of course, it could be, maybe they filled it in or something, but I don't see much of a tailing pile here. But look, they used just logs. Like, they were trying to notch it right there. Makes you wonder if this was like, if someone's, I don't know what kind of rock it looks like, almost quartz. Like they were trying to look for gold here or something. Or was it someone's little cabin? Not that deep. It's pretty neat though. All right, let's go.
When a volunteer spotted what looked like a bucket in the drone images, something Trevor typically carried on rockhounding trips, we set out to find it in person.
There's a lot of trash out here, but there's a bucket over here and we wanted to go see because there is I think there's a can right there, old can. So which way was the bucket? This way?
But another interesting discovery interrupted our search.
All right, so found some clothing, or looks like to be like a baby's blanket. Actually, there's like a baby. There's something weird on right there underneath this tree. But we're still looking for the bucket. Found some cans, beer cans. Now we're looking for the bucket. Okay, so looks like we found the bucket in the photo, and that's just a regular old bucket. I wanted to see. Oh, it's on Big R. Is what this I think it's really good underneath these trees. It's pretty tucked in there. Did you want to pull it out?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. Okay, so this is our bucket. Nothing in it. Looks pretty old, like it's been out here for a while. Not sure if we can get any numbers off it or anything to see where it came from. Probably St. George. So that's the bucket we found. We're gonna take it home and put it in the trash.
After following up on the discoveries our volunteers flagged, we returned to a location that was critical in the initial search for Trevor Bazil. But even now, something about this place and the story we've been told still doesn't quite add up.
Okay, we are in an area right now where they believe his towel was tied to a tree, like one of these trees, and his bucket was like over in this area, somewhere around right around here. And we are about a good 7 miles away from where his vehicle was up this road, and that's not an easy 7 miles. And it was 100 degrees out that day, maybe a little hotter. It was so hot that when the military came from Nellis to help search, they had to call it off because they were getting overheated. So whether or not he can make it from that spot all the way up the mountain, 7 miles, 8 miles that way, all the way to here is something I am very skeptical of. That would be a 12-mile hike round trip in 100-degree weather. So we're focusing our search up there. We will eventually come down here if we don't find them up there, but we're going to focus up there first. And that's our reasoning for why we're not searching down here, is because it would be very difficult for anybody to make it that far. And you had the military and the dogs. They had a lot of problems with the search dogs because it was too hot for the search dogs. And everybody had to, Nellis had to keep coming back out and taking a day off, half days, because of the heat. So, and that's why we're not really focusing too much down here. But we will get down here if we have to. We will eventually cover this. But right around here, this area is supposedly where his bucket was found.
And because Trevor was looking for rocks he could easily access near his car, we still question whether he ever traveled as far as the bucket's location in the first place.
So down this road, about, I would say, a quarter mile, is the Y where Trevor Bazil's vehicle was found. And the search all happened south of that location. It almost all happened south. They searched that whole entire area. We've been researching Chalcedony because he used to like Chalcedony and what's the black rock, Emma? Obsidian. Great research I'm doing. But I didn't do... So Obsidian and Chalcedony, but the host rock is like literally in the opposite direction of where they were searching. Now, we could be wrong. I mean, maybe he had a little honey pot down there or something where he was able to go and find a bunch. But this here, I believe, are rhyolite tuffs. And I'm pretty sure this is, as if you come over here, you can actually see some in the rocks here. You can see that there's some chalcedony right inside of the host rock here. I believe this is rhyolite. I'm not positive. I'm not a geologist, nor do I pretend to be one. But I did some research because I'm trying to figure out where he would have went. And back here are some giant, and they go really far back. We covered some with the drone yesterday, but we're gonna cover a whole lot more. Because if he would have gotten out of his vehicle, he would have followed the stream. There's a little stream bed, where you would want to find your chalcedony. If you walk up the stream bed and look on the sides, you can find it all over the sides. But it leads up to this huge, massive, I don't know what you'd call it, but I get rhyolite tuff, I guess you'd call it. Tuffs, and they go really far back. So we're gonna focus our droning in this area because they did not search at all in this area. And we want to cover areas that were not searched in addition to areas that were searched, because they didn't search them by drone how we search them. So not that ours is any better. I'm not trying to act like anybody's way is better. Just we search a little differently, and maybe a different method might work better. So we're gonna head up there. We're gonna get the drone in the air, and then we're gonna hike all the way up to those cliffs again, so I can keep a visual on my drone. And we're gonna drone the entire, this is a massive amount of rhyolite. We're gonna go ahead and just cover the entire area, all sides of it. For the next 2 days, we're gonna be droning this, collecting probably 20,000 photos. Let's go.
According to police records, Dixie had told investigators that this isn't the first time Trevor had disappeared. She explained that he came home late one night and she had to go out and find him. We asked a member of Trevor's family for her phone number so we could ask exactly where that was and drone the area. We contacted Dixie in the hope she would answer, but she ultimately blocked our calls. Still, many family members have expressed their desire for closure, and it is for that reason we continue our search. We're inviting volunteers from around the world to join us on our platform, Divas AI, to help us comb through thousands of drone images. If you notice anything worth a closer look, we'll return to explore on the ground and share what we find in a future video. With your help, we can continue our mission to bring Trevor's family and other families the closure they deserve.